And I think what you're saying about how the Latino community doesn't just care about immigration is kind of eye-opening to some people, because we care about healthcare, we care about education, we care about prison reform. There's so many other things that you could try to reach out to Latino voters, not just immigration, that I think a lot of people don't know. Now going into 2020, there's a lot of different organizations at this conference. What is the best strategy that you guys can advise? I want you guys to drop some knowledge on these organizations as far as how to reach the Latino voters going in.
Oh, go ahead.
Work collaboratively. There are people on the ground that are doing good work. They just need your support and your expertise to be able to do that work. And Berto knows this because, you know, with like the work that we were doing at ICER, which was the same organization that I was working with, he was my intern quite a few summers ago. It's very easy to say, oh, we're just gonna invent this new amazing thing. But if you're not talking to the people on the ground that are doing the work, then you're not helping. You're creating even more problems. And also, don't come into our community saying that you know best, because you don't. We're the experts in our communities. So work collaboratively. Come in with the spirit of collaboration and wanting to create a solution collaboratively, because I think that that's the most important thing, is to know that we ourselves all have agency, our communities have agency. And I think the biggest misconception is that people don't want to vote. They don't want to vote because they're not being engaged. That's their apprehension. They're not voting because people aren't actually talking to them about the stuff that they care about. So don't come in trying to tell us what to do. Come in a spirit of collaboration to say, all right, I have this great idea, but I want to know what you guys are doing. How can we work together? Because that's where the best ideas come out of.
And I think, on touching on collaboration, there was a move back years ago to engage millennials to become civically active, right, in their communities in one way or another. And that didn't only mean voting. It meant organizing within your neighborhoods, within your communities, doing whatever, just taking ownership over your communities. And I think collaborating within those organizations, those community-based organizations that a lot of Latino millennials began engaging in and are still engaging in, is important. The only thing is that I think good money and from good people needs to kind of help with this, because millennials, I mean, we're, to some extent, at least in my perspective, we're turning away from, these big corporations that in the past have only been bad for us, and now they're trying to possibly compensate for their shortcomings in the past. However, we're not very receptive to that. And another point that I'll just make really quickly is that I think we also need to bring back, or really focus in on the Black-Brown unity and coalition building, because I think that's extremely important moving forward to 2020. There are a lot of issues which both communities face that we agree on, and a lot of rhetoric within these last couple of years has really just tried to divide us, but we need to focus on collaborating it and making it stronger.
I would say ask us, hire us, and work with us. Yeah. Right? So I don't think you can get out the Latino vote without Latinos at the table. Looking at the mayoral campaign that I was just a part of, I can give you two specific examples where I saw a lot of the disconnect between our campaign and the campaign that we were running against at the mayoral level. I went to the Puerto Rican agenda meeting in Humboldt Park, right? And Humboldt Park is a traditionally Puerto Rican neighborhood in the city's north side. In this neighborhood, the Puerto Rican agenda is a group of stakeholders that meets around issues particular to the Puerto Rican community. And I show up to talk about, represent Representative Lori Lightfoot and where she stands on housing. And the person that was there representing the opposing campaign was this white guy, right? And right away, even though some people were supporters of the opponent, they saw the disconnect right away and they brought it up to our attention. Another anecdotal experience that I can share about the disconnect when you don't hire us or work alongside Latinos to try to get out the Latino vote. I remember when we were in Aspen, thinking about a report called Unlocking Latino Civic Potential 2016 and Beyond, right? And these researchers came out and talked about how they had researched the Latino community, and they had seen civic engagement trends in our community, and they said that the Latino community was one of the least civically engaged communities across the board. And then naturally, some of the Latino leaders in the room said, hey, did you try the churches? Did you check, participation in churches? No. Oh, did you check participation in local school councils or something like that? No, right? Did you check like there was all these trends of like traditional, like untraditional forms for, white folks to be civically engaged, but very traditional ways for Latinos to be civically engaged, right? And I'm thinking about like churches, I'm thinking about local school councils, I'm thinking about, for our aldermanic campaign, we got moms together to organize a kermes, right, to sell food in order to help us fundraise for our campaign. There's so many untraditional ways of engagement that you wouldn't think about without asking or without having Latinos at the table when people are making these decisions.
And we can tell when you don't have people of color in the room. We can tell by the products, by the strategies, by the things that you end up saying. And I think it's bizarre that that still happens and that people are scratching their heads trying to figure out how to reach young people, how to reach people of color, and they have no one with decision, the power to make decisions that are from communities of color. And I would just say, to add to that point of the untraditional ways and one of the strategies to engage people of color and Latinx communities in particular, I think the stat is a quarter of Latinx voters in the midterms, it was their first time casting a ballot. So if you did a great job doing outreach, if you did a great job making sure that diverse communities came out to vote, don't let that be the last time you talk to them. Our communities, especially young people, we're socializing our communities, like you explained, our families, into this civic participation, into what it means to be a voter, and that can't be with like a one-time, once you got that transactional piece for that one vote in the midterms for your interests, that can't be the last time you talk to them. A lot of us are new voters. There's going to be a lot of young people voting for the first time, and that takes time, and yes, it takes money, it takes longer investment, but if the question is, how do we do it? You got to put in the investment. You got to take the time. You got to put in the effort.
And the investment is worth it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and like Amber said, we are watching. We know if you have someone in your campaign that is Latino, we can tell. So I want to leave this in a positive note. So I want to hear what makes you guys most excited about 2020, and you can also share any of the successes that you've had in your particular field in the last year. So I want to hear what you guys are most excited about. You can take your time.
I'll go for it. I love us. I love our gente. I love our people. And I think one of the most exciting things is Voto Latino has been doing debriefs with our chapters across the country, from Florida to North Carolina to California to here. We have a great chapter in Chicago. And we've been hearing from them what they were most excited about. And one of the biggest things that we've been hearing is that they felt their power, right? They exercised their power. They saw where they felt where they moved the needle. And that, you can't take that away from our communities, right? And so I'm most excited about all of the people that voted for the first time, all of the people that organized for the first time, that were asked and hired to be a part of a campaign for the first time. That energy is still really alive and well, and we know what's up, and we know where to go, and where to exercise our power, and so I think that's really, really exciting.
And I'm excited and looking forward to restoring sanity and a little bit of democracy, restoring back democracy. And, within that, being able to unite the Latino community a little bit more, all of these different subsects, right? The Y generation, the millennials, and, the baby boomers, et cetera, within the Latino community, but being able to really, hopefully, unite in trying to change back not only the White House, but also Congress, the rest of Congress. So that's something I'm really excited for. And I think just want to touch on engaging also the X generation and making sure that they're also engaged in voting. I just came back, my flight just got in from San Francisco. I was in Stanford for a couple of days presenting bilateral relation policy, US-Mexico. But I got to interact with not only the undergrads and the graduate students, but professors. But one of the things that I did remember while walking through those gorgeous arches of Stanford were when I was an undergrad, trying to register to vote, because I was away from the state of Illinois, because I was away from home, there were certain restrictions, and I know every single state has those restrictions. So I think it's important to go to university campuses and to ensure that students are voting, are registered to vote, and that they are voting, be it mailing in ballots or doing so early, but engaging them and making sure that they're also voting to change 2020.
I'm excited about big hoop earrings and red lipstick coming back in vogue. Because I've been rocking that. I forgot them at home today because otherwise they would have been on. I'm excited about the fact that our generations to come and the millennial generation of which I'm a part of, are comfortable with being unapologetically them. And being unapologetically who we are, and not being shamed in any way for being exactly who we are. And I think that's what gives me the most hope, because I think it's not about dividing and saying, you know, I'm better than you or any of that. It's about saying there is beauty in these differences that we have. There is beauty in the experiences that we have, and it's something that we need to invest in, and it's something that we need to admire and exalt. But then we also have to come together and then work together to make sure that no one's being, you know, left in the dark in these tumultuous times and in the future. So I'm excited about what's to come, and people being able to be genuinely, authentically them, and leading us into a better world.
What makes me hopeful and what I'm looking forward to is, I think all the young people that I see being engaged for the first time, or that mom that is 40 years old, just became a citizen, you know, and is proudly going in to cast their ballot. Like those folks that are engaging for the very first time and are going to be engaging others in the process is what gives me hope. I think about the fact that, again, over 50% of Latinos are under the age of 27, and within that, the biggest age group is 0 to 5, right? I think it's a very important figure to note, and I think that sometimes we talk about, oh, the youth are the future, the youth are going to do great things, and it's like, no, we're already here, what's good, we're the present right now, being here, right? So I think, right? So I think that's what gives me hope.
That's wonderful, and I am excited for taco trucks on every corner.
Yes.
Oh, get it?
I want to thank you guys so much for being here, and before we leave, because we are millennials, I want to give you guys time to kind of talk about how people can reach you, in case you're looking to hire anybody from their worlds, in case you need someone, a Latino, in your group, how you can do that besides talking to us at happy hour after this event. So how do people get a hold of you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn too, but I don't really use that. Mostly Messenger. Berto Aguayo, B-E-R-T-O, last name Aguayo, A-G-U-A-Y-O. And if afterwards you want to get my number, we can do that too.
Also, I just want to mention that your pinned tweet on Twitter is you shaking hands with Obama. So he's kind of a big deal.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Rep Selena, C-E-L-I-N-A, not like the singer. It's not S-E-L-E-N-A, it's C-E-L-I-N-A. And I actually check all of those accounts, so you can get me that way.
Cool.
And you can reach me via Twitter at mblancartejr, and LinkedIn. I'm taking a little bit of a Facebook break right now, so not on Facebook. And I'm happy to connect afterward as well, my number and email address.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm checking what my name is.
She's like checking out her
On
accounts.
Twitter, AMBARJAC, Ambar Jack, because my middle name's Jacqueline. This is the worst. I created this account when, like, you know, handles weren't like really cool, and now that's like your identity. So anyway, but you can also just email me, ambar@votolatino.org.
So we'll leave this card up so you guys can all find us on Twitter. But thank you guys so much for being here. I think everything you said was so insightful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.